Pay Your People Better, July 14th, 2026. I just got finished watching a video from Liam helping, talking about helping this young woman who's having a hard time feeding her family. She's like $37, I think it was. And it got me thinking about like my own situation, and then going into the comments and reading all the positive, because like it's so rare to see a YouTuber or influencer or whatever you want to call people these days have a massive, especially when dealing with controversial subject matters, when the video itself is a critique of other things or of the way other people behave, etc. I'm gonna turn on the AC. God dang it, come on. And it got me thinking, about like, because like people were talking about their relationship with food and how it's helped me with my relationship with food. And it got me thinking about like other things and how the fact that he would eat he's always talking, hyping up beans and stuff. And now I have all these extra beans, and it's like I do what I can to get more fiber into myself, more beans. Like I'm slowly dwindling away the stockpile that was in my fridge, like all the rice and beans and corn that I had mixed up. Because the rice was a little, I think, on the rancid side. Because brown rice will do that, and also the stock that I had used, I hadn't actually like consumed it, and I think it was getting to that point of rancidity as well. So it was like taking a little while to get through it. But I said, "Fuck it, let's do it anyway." But then that got me thinking about my now deceased aunt, and the fact that my mother, in like, for one, she said it about my aunt. Like, I think because we would go to her house usually once a year to take care of her dogs because she was out of town, because she would travel the world. Like, she had like this was at a time before the EU was like really established, especially the things that I remember anyway. Like, she had currency from all these different European countries, but also countries that were not European. She had like money from Iraq. She had money from Japan, and so it's like she had like this stockpile of currency from other countries as essentially souvenirs, I think. And I remember my mother like negatively commenting on the fact that she can only afford to do this because she eats beans all the time. And I'm like, as a child, like I didn't know how to respond to that kind of negativity. At that time, I didn't even realize it was negativity. I'm pretty sure at the time I thought, well, yeah, that's kind of fucking weird. But no, it's not. Like, she was a dental hygienist for one, in the 90s, 80s and 90s. I think she died, I want to say, right up, like, I want to say around 2015. Somewhere around there, maybe a little later. But I want to say around there. Maybe, I think again a little later. But I had stopped talking to my mother basically permanently at that point. And then she sent me something, and she wanted my address, or I think maybe my sister wanted my address or something like that. I don't remember what it was. And then I got my aunt's will, and I was bequeathed, I want to say about $100 worth of silver coins. I ended up just like taking them to a coin shop because I'm like, I didn't have any reason to keep them, to hang on to them. One of the problems that I had when it came to my family, and especially my mother's family, because like that was the only family that I knew was my mother's side, because like my stepdad, I think it was just him, and his parents lived in Houston. But like, my mother was a gatekeeper in so many different ways. Now, fortunately, you know, every major holiday, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, the big three, and usually I want to say July 4th too, or thereabouts, because my grandmother's birthday was the 12th of July. She died in 2020 of COVID. But like, it was roughly 3 to 4 times a year that I got to see my other family, especially the more extended family who didn't have like kids. And that's another thing. My aunt didn't have kids. She was divorced and single. I remember my mother complaining about my aunt, and my aunt was the eldest. You know, they had like 7 kids, and my mother was the youngest, and so, you know, she may have had valid reasons for hating her family. I mean, I have valid reasons for hating my mom, but at the same time, like, she was also really good at expounding upon that hate in front of her child, which is just an amateur fucking thing to do. Like, bitching and moaning about other adults to a child is a childish thing to do. Especially your child. Like, it's one thing to do it around a kid you're not gonna see very often, and maybe it just kind of slips out or some bullshit or whatever. But like, this was a regular thing. Like, I look back, and the times that I find more memorable and connecting with my mother are when we're bitching about something. And like, that's kind of sad. And I'm in a lot of ways, I'm redoing that through this camera. But I'm not trying to have that relationship with another person, or especially my own child, which I don't have any. But, you know, I'm just trying to get my thoughts out. It's like a diary, whatever, who cares? Nobody's going to fucking watch this anyway. And so it bugs me to think about the relationships that were not there and to think about what could have been. And I know this is a bad way of looking at things, especially if you ruminate on it too much. But, you know, it's only just something I thought of today. It's not something that I'm ruminating on and, like, you know, trying to get back to that in some way or another. It's like, look at those things and try to figure out how to incorporate that into my life now, which is difficult because of so many habits that I've built over the last 40 years. I say 40, even though I'm going to be 45 soon, but, you know, you don't really build habits up to the age of 5, you know. The environment that's around you, you know, sort of influences your habits, though. The idea of trust, who your caregivers are, and so on. And that's why I almost always took my mother's words at face value as a child, even though there was always some sort of tinge of, like, something else. I just wasn't sure what it was, and I wasn't gonna, like, say anything because I didn't want to get fucking smacked in the face, even though there were still times that I would get smacked in the face anyway. I just didn't like it, so I didn't do it as much. And so it's just like, I look at my aunt, and I'm like, she lived a life, you know? She was able to, like, she had to go through some pretty difficult times when it came to her divorce, because she had, like, let's look at the shirt. Let's see. Black women could vote, 1965. Women were allowed to initiate divorce from their husbands, 1969. 1969. Okay. And I don't even know, and like, no fault divorce is one thing, whereas you have to create. So even with the ability to initiate a divorce, there are people out there right now who are trying to get rid of no fault divorce, because a no fault divorce basically says, I don't think we should be married anymore. Whereas a fault-based divorce means the only way you're getting the divorce is if you can find something that person did that's significant enough to be able to divorce. Otherwise, you got to stay with them. That's a problem, by the way. That creates situations where spouses end up dead. I mean, domestic violence increases when you get rid of no-fault divorces. And so, even though women were able to initiate divorce proceedings, they probably still had a huge problem with trying to figure out cause for it, because it wasn't just straight up no fault. And I'm almost certain that the reason that what my aunt did was file for alienation of affection or something similar to that. Basically, whether it's having an affair or just the fact that this person no longer feels love toward me, she had to go through like tumultuous legal proceedings in order to get this divorce, because she was with the person she didn't love and apparently didn't love her. But she also didn't want to live with the motherfucker anymore either. So who knows how abusive he was, verbally, emotionally, sexually, I don't know. Like, most women, and especially most women who were born, I want to say pre-1980s, at least before I was born, most, if not all of them, had some sexual assault. For all I know, I'm a product of rape. It's not my fault, and I shouldn't be the one that gets all the bullshit from my mother, which I don't get anymore because I haven't talked to her in 10 years. But the point being is, like, my aunt, despite everything, was a strong, independent woman. And my mother shit on her regularly. And so I never got to see the strong, independent woman. There was always this imagery, this weird, like, ephemeral aura around my aunt that this person isn't to be trusted. There's always some element that is, this person is not who she claims to be. The reality was, that was my mother. And the way that she treated so many other people, and the way that she treated me, and the way she talked about other people, and the way she acted in front of people, that was different the way that she acted around me. I wish I had had the cognitive capabilities that I have now. I wish. I probably would have been dead sooner. But I wouldn't have had that relationship. You know, I remember being in a line. It was to go upstairs. It was after a Lady Gaga concert that I had gone to. It was the only one that I'd ever been to when I was in Texas. It was in 2010. I had fallen in love with Gaga's work on Easter of that year. I want to say around April 10th. But I hadn't really fallen in love with it until I went home and started watching stuff, Bad Romance, started listening to everything, and then I see the Speechless video of her, you know, on the white piano and everything. And then I have to go to the store and I buy both of her albums and I'm playing them constantly. If it's not the CD, I'm playing it on like fucking Last FM or whatever. And it's constant. When I'm at work, when I'm at home, when I'm in bed, etc., etc., etc. I ripped those songs immediately. I put them on my computer. I did everything. I put them on my PSP at the time that I had. Did everything that I could. Then I go to one concert day just to be outside to look at all the cosplay, just Gaga cosplay, or cosplay inspired by Gaga, you know, because it wasn't all necessarily stuff she wore, but it was a lot of stuff that she wore, plus a lot of stuff that was inspired by what she wore. And the fact that she opened up this freak in me and other people, and it was great. And so the next day I actually go to the concert, and then I change clothes because there's apparently it may have actually been the day before, to be honest. I don't remember. But I took the 2 days off, and then it was like a Saturday. So it's like a Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday didn't normally work anyway. So I had a 4-day weekend. And there was like this, I think one of her headliners or something that was usually with there was having a concert as well up at like a club in one of the nearby buildings in downtown Dallas. Went to go see that, and I was standing in line, and I don't remember what I did, but these two ladies liked what I did, and they were like, well, your mother raised you right. And I'm like, not really. to make a long story short, no, my mother didn't raise me right. She raised me in fear. All of the positive things that came from her raising me could have been done in a more constructive and more humane way. And so, I still don't have the ability to forgive her. I know that once I forgive her, that's a weight off my shoulders, but I just don't have it in me right now. I know it's strength to do that, and forgiveness is a gift one gives to oneself. I don't have it in me at the moment. I wish I did. I just don't. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in 10 years, who knows? But, I'm obviously sort of looking for surrogates in my life. I never really had a positive role model as a father. And so I'm looking for positive role models that could be father figures, which it's not fair to them. And I got to learn how to be that person myself. So when I see things online, especially when I'm in, playing World of Warcraft and people are saying all this bullshit, this racist shit, or, bigoted or homophobic or transphobic or whatever, I do what I can to say what I can in the public space. Occasionally I get positive feedback. Occasionally I get, trolly feedback, whatever, but I just ignore the people. It's like I say the thing, then ignore them. It's like I have to learn how to do that with the thoughts that my mother gave me, and I have to relook at my aunt, and I have to relook at the people who were in my life who had a positive influence on me. Whether or not they're still alive is largely irrelevant. Most of my family members are dead. At least the older ones, my aunts and uncles. A number of them are still alive, but and then there's my cousins and stuff who had positive influences in me in one way or another. And it's just like looking at the things and incorporating the things that are positive in me. Incorporate the positive. I think I'm going to try to title the video that, because as much as the shit that's going on now, there's been shit that's been going on now for decades, and we have to try to find the positive. Like, one of the things I was thinking about recently, just like a few minutes before I started recording this, it was like, there has always been something in me, this internal drive to do and be better. And, whether it's to challenge myself or what, I don't know specifically, but there's also been a lot of externalities that have caused me that has caused that to be quashed or turned off, if you will. And it's frustrating. When I was 15, I got a chance to do some weight training in the community center at the near, it was like right down the street. But the problem is that it was basically like a trial. I don't even remember why that was available to me at the time. I don't know if my dad was there at the time or whatever, but the thing is that they would not allow you to do it by yourself on a regular basis until you were 16. And once I got 16, I basically had no intention because I started driving. And then I would hang out with my friends because I would go drive to their houses or whatever. And so, the ability for all of us to drive all at that time, because, one of my friends started driving, in the year before because he was born in 1980. And then, he was, the same year group as me. For what reason? I think it's because of the way, I don't remember. But all three of us were in the same, grade, I think, together. Or no, he was technically a year ahead of us, I think, but I think he ended up getting pulled back because, he had family situations or whatever that caused his grades to falter. And then I ended up doing something like that too. But one of my other friend, he was younger than me by almost an entire year, but he was in the same grade as me because of the way ages and stuff, birthdays and stuff fell for the years and shit. So despite the fact that he was literally 3 weeks shy of a full year younger than me, he was still in the same grade as me. So my oldest friend, he could drive, then I started driving, and then my youngest friend, he would drive, but he was the one that kind of drove all the time. He was the leader, as it were. And it was usually just because of trust on his part. He didn't really trust other people to drive, which, honestly, he didn't really have the reason to be able to do. Like, his trust was misplaced. He shouldn't have been trusting himself either. But nevertheless, I don't remember externalities and stuff. And it's like, I'm always trying to find things to do better for myself. Like, I bought the yoga mat. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go downstairs. Going to get on the elliptical. I want to try to do... I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to the comedy club today because of fucking water pressure shit. I don't want to take a shower under shitty water pressure. And because it's encroaching on... It's already 7 o'clock, so it's probably not happening anyway. Because I want to at least get one possible opportunity to go up on stage to tell the joke about learning Icelandic, to then go to Iceland after the fact. And, to kind of bring it back around, it's like, yeah, I'm eating the beans and stuff, because, one, I mean, they're good for you, but also, it's like a good way to save money. And also, I'm going to go to Iceland, and, it's already paid for, but then I'm going to be paying for a significant amount of stuff to do. There's like whale watching trips you can go on, and they can give you like full ass refunds, or at least an opportunity to go like another day. And so it's like there's options that are there that I want to be able to experience. And it's just like I've always wanted to improve myself. I've always tried to work out. Like when I was a security guard, and I would talk to one of the other security guards, because he and I we started working at the same facility, then he moved to another facility. And then when he was about to leave that facility, I'm the one that took over for that facility. And so he knew, well enough, and it was a small one, and that was the one I stayed at until I ended up basically getting shafted in the whole situation, because it was like, I was not aware. So I was told that there was an opportunity to stay at the building, but I'd have to move over to a different employer, which was a scary thing for me, for one. Like, I'll be honest, I was almost 30, and I still didn't have like the greatest understanding of the way the world worked. And, it was still kind of scary for me to move to another employer. But what I didn't know hurt me was that if I had stuck on with my current employer, I wasn't going to have a job. Because they didn't have anything open for it, which is weird, because literally between the time that I had stopped working and by the time that I finally left Texas about 2 months later, I could see that they had openings. And so, like, what the fuck? Company loyalty, I had learned the hard and fast way. There is no such thing as company loyalty. And so it was just like... But during the time that I was working at that building, I would do what I could to try to work out, to try to get push-ups in, to try to get like squats in of some kind, because there was a time when I got like a gym membership, but I was just, I wasn't in the right headspace when I would get there, and like I couldn't listen to music or anything, and at the time, like downloading stuff wasn't as readily available as it is now. You couldn't watch, things like, a shit ton of shows on Netflix and whatnot. Like, it was, the possibility was there, but it wasn't nearly as rooted in society as it is now. And so, like, distracting myself from the work, and also not having a better understanding of how I work. Like, I can go downstairs, get on that elliptical for 10 minutes, and that's enough. Like, trying to go harder is not working for me right now. It's not a good idea. But it's better to do that, to do 10 minutes than nothing. And I haven't done it in like a week, and so I need to go back. And that's the thing, like, it's always been in me to want to, but the drive has never been like super strong. And I think part of it was, again, the parenting was they weren't paying attention to who I was as a child and what I was trying to accomplish. It was, what is this kid doing that's making our life harder? Which was, they didn't want to be parents. And that's the real deal. They didn't want to be parents. They wanted whatever, like, even when my sister was born, you know, technically my half-sister, but, like, they would dote on her more, but they still didn't, like, treat her like her. If that makes any sense. It was like they weren't listening to her. And that's part of the problem. It was like children are to be seen, not heard. Well, if you don't hear children, then you don't listen to them, and thus you do not try to understand them. They are individuals. You're not trying to raise a child. You're trying to raise an adult. And that's something that I feel that a lot of people have forgotten when it comes to having children. You are not trying to raise a child. You're trying to raise an adult. It's like if you plant a sapling of a cherry tree, you're not trying to raise a sapling, you're trying to raise a tree. You want to bear the fruit of the tree, not of the sapling. Unless you're like raising veal so you can slaughter that, and that's a little different situation. But like that was part of the upbringing, was like the lack of listening, the lack of caring of the parents. It's like, well, whatever gets them out of our fucking hair, except for certain things like being on the computer, because the computer was a brand new thing. It was around the time that I was hitting puberty. Well, I hit puberty a little late. I hit puberty when I was more like 17. Like parts of puberty started. I was getting taller, but I was still skinny as fuck. Like that's about how. That's probably thicker than my actual fucking thigh was. Maybe this was about as thick as my thigh was when I was 16, but I was this height at 16. I was a fucking stick. But then, like, my stepdad dies. I go to the military school down in Harlingen, Texas. I come back. I get kicked out of the house. I live with my grandmother. And then over a summer, I basically only eat ice cream. And my pants don't really fit because I had literally widened. My bones got bigger. And people thought I had been working out. Like, and the sad thing is I thought they were making fun of me. And that's another sort of problem with the whole thing. And I think I mentioned this in another video too. But like, I've had such negative self-perception. I still have it. Like, one of the things that I fear about going to Iceland is potentially going to any of the lagoons or pools or whatever, because I don't want to be around prying eyes. No, they're probably not going to be paying enough attention to me for it to matter. But I'm also kind of an eyesore, because that's not the only place that the hair exists. It's everywhere. And I am a pale man who is hairy as fuck. It's not a full-on carpet on the back, but it's significant. And I'm extremely self-conscious about it. And sure, if I have the confidence to just be able to take my shirt off, walk around at a pool with my shirt off, despite all the negatives, you know, maybe there will be somebody out there who sees, for whatever reason, if there is anybody who sees it at all or pays attention, who'd be like, hey, if that guy's got the confidence to do it, I could do it. But maybe I got to see somebody else first do it. I don't know. I need to stop buying this version. The water, the what's in here is not sparkling water at all. It's tap water mixed with 2 of these lemonades. But it's enough. It's the right size for 2. But that version, the First Street sparkling water, is basically like a Diet Coke, because it has the sweetener and stuff. And what I wanted was something that was more like San Pellegrino, because I'm starting to enjoy sparkling waters now. Like on occasion, it's not every day, But yeah, it's just like I'm change like I have to reformulate the relationship with so many things in my brain. I gotta work out often enough on a regular enough basis to change my relationship with physical exertion, because I've always hated it. But I've also always tried to find ways to do it. When I was a kid, I used to ride my bike all the time. I'm not a bike rider now anymore. One, because of the weight. But two, I'm also like I'm doing something because I'm going somewhere. That's one of the reasons why I rode my bike all the time, is because I was going somewhere. And it was usually to hang out with people. I don't have anybody to hang out with right now. So it's just like I've got a number of things I'm trying to figure out. But not only that, like I've also got to figure out like how to maintain keeping myself in good enough condition. Like yesterday, despite the fact that the night before I had done actual exercise to help with my back, including zinc squats, the night before anyway. Yesterday, my lower back was just fucking killing me. Sometimes it happens when I sleep too much, but I didn't really sleep too much. I slept a normal amount. Sometimes it happens when I forget to take pain meds at night, which is what happened. And so, I've got to figure shit out while also changing my relationship with so many different things, including video games. I've got a number of video games I still haven't played. And I also have to, contend with the fact that one of the things that I've done most of my life was, play video games with stuff going on in the background. Because it's a comfort for me. Even if the thing that I'm doing isn't necessarily fun, it's just a kind of decompression mode. I don't know. But I'm going to do my best to try to embrace the positive, implement the positive. I don't remember what I was going to title it based on what I said it was going to be. Add more beans into my diet and yours, because it also includes adding fiber, like these bad boys. Again, 110 calories, but whoa. This one has 28 grams of fiber in it. This is the bigger version. I was wondering why these seemed different than the last ones that I bought. These are full on burrito style. I had 2 of these last night. God damn. It's a lot of fiber. And that incorporated corn and brown rice and beans. So I had quite a bit of fiber last night. And so, just trying to incorporate the healthier foodstuffs, the things that we understand, potatoes, for instance, is another thing. Trying to incorporate more of that. Add, don't subtract. Because as you add more positive things, more healthy foods, more whole foods, more nutrition-oriented foods, etc., 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 the less you're likely to consume the shit foods. I still have, though, both of these. I eat these a little bit more frequently just because they're fucking delicious. And they're a great way to follow up a spicy snack or a spicy lunch or dinner or whatever. Had them with my coffee as well earlier. But yeah, it's just fuck the haters. Eat your beans. Save what money you can. Try to travel if you can, of course. It's not always easy. I mean, I had to be homeless in order to afford it. That was the only way. If I had not saved my money and if I had just tried to get housing, then I would have had to get a job or whatever, or I would have lost all the money and then end up homeless again anyway. And so I was like, well, I'm in a homeless shelter. I'm in a relatively quiet portion of it with no real neighbors, so it makes it even more just kind of like I get overstimulated by all the noise and shit anyway, so it was less of an issue because of where I was located. And similarly, I'm in a corner of the building, and I've got like one neighbor here, but I mean, some stuff passes through the building, stuff outside or whatever. But most of the time, it's not a problem. The thing that I hear more often than not is someone's phone falling. Which, I mean, it's kind of a blessing if you consider it. So, trying to embrace the positive. And, I'm going to get on the mat here soon, and I'm going to bust out these, stretches and shit. And then go downstairs and get on the elliptical and maybe do a little bit of weightlifting. So, have fun.